Why is Vecna afraid of that cave? What are Will's new powers? And what does it all mean for Volume 2 of Stranger Things Season 5? Well, let's talk about it all. Starting with the big lore drop. In episode 4, we see that Vecna is chasing Max into this cave. A cave in this sort of dreamscape. But for some reason, while it's a world of his own creation, he's terrified of this area. Well, the answer to that is actually in the Stranger Things stage play. If you didn't know, there was a Broadway play called Stranger Things The First Shadow. And it tells the origin story of Henry Creel. And we learn a lot about Dimension X and the Mind Flayer, and how the Mind Flayer could actually be the secret main villain. To give a brief summary, well before the events of Stranger Things, Dr. Brenner's father was working with the military to develop a sort of cloaking technology, but the experiment went wrong, and him and his crew were sent to Dimension X, the dimension of the Mind Flayer. And after coming back, his father was the only survivor, and it led Dr. Brenner to want to learn about this dimension. And years later, one of the people working with Dr. Brenner was a rogue scientist who stole technology and hid it in that Nevada cave. And when he was a kid, Henry Creel loved to explore these caves. And one day he stumbled upon this scientist, and for 12 hours he went missing and was stuck in Dimension X. And when he came back, he was fully changed. Yes, of course, giving him powers, but also changing his personality, as it's heavily implied that he was not an evil person, but it's the encounter with Dimension X, and most likely the Mind Flayer, that turned him evil. And the reason that this is so important is that we think that Vecna is the main villain of Stranger Things now, but it looks like we could be getting another huge twist, where secretly the Mind Flayer is still the main villain, as he is influencing Vecna. Think of a sort of Darth Vader scenario, where the dark side of the Force is the hive mind, influencing Anakin, taking this pure Jedi and turning him into a Sith. And this memory, this cave, is the last memory of humanity, untouched by the Mind Flayer that he has. Or it could be the side of the Mind Flayer in his personality, afraid that if he goes in this cave, he'll lose his grasp on Henry Creel. And we could be getting a sort of redemption arc, where maybe Henry Creel breaks free of the Mind Flayer's control on him, or this traumatic memory could be used to weaken him, who knows. Regardless, if the stage play tells us anything, is that we're not done with the Mind Flayer or Dimension X yet. And the Duffer Brothers have confirmed that we are going to learn more about Henry Creel's origin in Volume 2. Next, what's the deal with Will's powers? A lot of people are saying, oh, he's now the main character of the show, he's more powerful than Eleven. That's not really true. As the Duffer Brothers confirmed, Will's powers are very unique. Unlike Eleven's, whose powers are fully her own, and she has a wide array of abilities. She can use telekinesis at will. She sends people to different dimensions. Will can't do that. To use a D&D analogy, while the show calls him a sorcerer, he's more of a warlock. His powers aren't innate, they're not from himself. He has a connection to a higher being, and his powers are gifted to him through that relationship. Will can only use his powers not only on the hive mind, because he gets his power directly from Vecna, and he only can use his stolen powers to tie into the hive mind, and also when he's near them. So the reason why he's able to interact with the hive mind at all was because he was so close to a Demogorgon, and because he's close to one, he can be close to them all, which is why he's able to stop all the Demogorgons from hurting his friends. But if he wasn't near that one Demogorgon, he couldn't have done what he did, and he also can't use these sort of telekinesis looking powers at will. It has to be in relation to the hive mind. Now the dark side to this all is that Vecna could use this against him, where it could be possible that Will is a sort of Horcrux from Harry Potter, where his life essence is tied to Vecna's, meaning that if Vecna dies, Will dies, leading to a very sad finale. But it also mean that he could be having a sort of bond with Vecna, maybe use that to weaken him, and maybe we could see a showdown where Vecna and Will fight for control of the hive mind, with maybe the reveal being that the Mind Flayer is fully influencing him, maybe trying to switch hosts from Vecna to Will, leading for Will to be the big bad of the finale. There are so many possibilities, but knowing what we know about the play and what the Duffer Brothers have said, it looks like the finale, and Volume 2 especially, is that we're not done with the Mind Flayer, we're gonna find a lot more about Henry Creel, and that Will's fate could be in the balance.